Of, and I just, this is not the place to solve the issue, but it is mentioned somewhere, of legal offences, including on intellectual property rights and other offences on the Internet. We have adopted, I mean, the Parliament has adopted a directive which introduced the mere conduit concept, which we find also is very important, etc., etc. These were some of the major concerns of the group of Socialists and Democrats. I think that to a very large extent we could find a compromise which is not weak, which is acceptable for all the major political groups, and at the same time it speaks very loudly about what the Parliament thinks about the development of Internet. And again, I think that the compromise amendments cover to a very large extent the concerns of most of the political groups. I really think that it would be a very bad idea to get split. It was very difficult to be split on many of the issues that are discussed here. We chose the other approach, and this was to find what could be a very clear, a very loud political signal so that we continue working on this problem. So, again, there are very few things I think to be finalized, minor ones, and I hope that this is going to be a very good and successful decision by the European Parliament. Thank you very much.
Danke sehr, Kollege.
Thank you, our colleague Enshaw.
Mulțumesc, domnule președinte. Apreciez efort.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I appreciate the efforts made by Mrs. Castillo to draft this report, which was not an easy task. And I also appreciate the contribution of my colleagues in the form of amendments. The digital agenda and the development of a single IT market are, of course, among the priorities, our priorities, the Presidency's priorities. We cannot speak about the 21st century without thinking about the Internet, communication networks, and so on and so forth. So I welcome in this report the idea of focusing on increasing literacy, digital literacy in young people, because young people are those who use these new technologies the most. So they should be safe and efficient in doing so. On the other hand, I would like to point out to the need of a campaign dedicated to adults and especially parents that would help them educate and protect their children in an IT-based world from the point of view of safety and privacy at the same time. There is another point that I would like to refer to in the context of economic progression and unemployment and economic problems. I would like to refer to Amendment 166, which asks the Commission to draft a plan to promote online businesses and to grant facilities, especially for those who have recently lost their jobs. So I am asking for your support for this amendment, and at the same time I would like to ask for your support on behalf of European citizens in view of giving them a new chance. Through these facilities we can contribute to reducing significantly the number of the unemployed in the EU. Although this was partially included in the Compromise Amendment 13, it no longer covers the social part of my proposal. Maybe you will say that the social issues are not the topic of this report. However, EU citizens are looking towards us, to the members of the ITRE committee, for a sign of support through these difficult times. Thank you.
Bedanke mich, Angelika Niebler.
Thank you, Angelika Niebler. Thank you, Chairman. Well, first of all, I would like to thank our rapporteur for an excellent piece of work. Mrs. Castillo submitted a very good report, and as previous speakers have said, she's also managed in a very brief period of time to pull together all the amendments into compromises, which I hope will receive a solid majority tomorrow in the vote in committee. So thanks to the rapporteur for an excellent piece of work. Good advert for the work being done in this committee. I would like to raise 2 points which have been mentioned by previous speakers. I think looking at the last 5 years or so, during which we've been debating the telecoms package in the Parliament, we've tackled a great number of controversial issues with one eye on the digital agenda, and we've formed opinions on these things. And now it's a question of implementing the compromises which have been thrashed out with such great difficulty through and by the groups during the last legislature. I would say that the Castillo report is a very clear signal now to the Commission, calling on the Commission to get to work on the telecoms package, what was decided on in the telecoms package last May in Parliament, encouraging the Commission to implement the telecoms package. I hope the Commission representative, Director General, is listening. I can see he's chatting with our chairman at the moment. But anyway, I would urge you, Director General, to implement the telecoms package as adopted by Parliament. It's been discussed and debated for a very long time in this Parliament, and there, of course, we're particularly concerned that there should be investment in the next generation networks, the new networks. There in Parliament, after lengthy debate, we did form an opinion, of course, on how investment into networks of the third generation can be intensified. And the Commission's initial proposals in reaction to that lagged a long way behind the Parliament's proposals. So again, I would appeal to the Commission to see if it's meeting the expectations of Parliament here, and this also applies to the proposal we should be making in June. And we worked long and hard on making proposals in the telecoms package, and we expect to see them implemented by the Commission. So that was all I had to say. Once again, congratulations, Rapporteur. We now have a new Commission with a new Commissioner responsible for our business. We have you, Director General, and we hope that all of you will be keeping a close eye on the work of the Parliament post-Lisbon Treaty. And please implement what the Parliament has decided upon. Thank you.
Frau Kollegin Tika.
Mrs. Tikau, please.
Vielen Dank, Herr Präsident. Aș dori și eu să o felicit pe doamna.
I'd also like to congratulate our colleague, Madame Pilar de Castillo, for her report. It is indeed a very, very good report, and I think it is the starting point for our future activity in what concerns the digital agenda. Now, I'd like to make a few comments. Now, first and foremost, in what concerns the Services Directive, unfortunately, right now we don't have the possibility for one service provider from one member state to provide the services in questions to any other member state. So from this point of view, the internal market or the objectives concerning the internal market for services have not been fully met. Therefore, I believe that this digital agenda will indeed contribute to achieving these objectives regarding the single market for services. In what concerns digital competences and skills, I believe they're absolutely mandatory. There's no way to develop an information society without users that are perfectly familiar with the technologies involved, users familiar also with the risks associated with the recourse to these technologies. Also, I welcome the fact that there are many references in the document to the full broadband coverage. This is also mentioned in the European Economic Recovery Plan. It allocates a certain amount of money for the extension of this broadband coverage to 100% by the end of this year. So I believe that from this point of view, the effective recourse to the digital dividend, including the elimination of the possible points of interference between current and future users of this digital dividend, are indeed elements likely to contribute to